Morning, everybody. I'm Steve Lentini, and today's episode is about leadership that blocks innovation, the thinking that blocks innovation. And it's interesting how leaders aren't aware of setting the boundaries for innovation because innovation requires experimentation, and experimentation includes mistakes. And the acorn brain, that's my trademark, the small minded thinker, that little voice in people's heads. Everybody has it, whether it's the leader or the employee or the team leader, the director, doesn't matter the level of the person's, whether they're the CEO, it doesn't matter their title and what level they lead at. It could be that the leader is modeling that mistakes aren't allowed. And that negates any experimentation. It causes fear. And the brain, the acorn brain, tries to avoid mistakes. It wants people to play safe. So the shift is to get people to break away from familiar approaches, even when better ideas exist. They default to familiar approaches. It's natural. Excuse me, it's human. So leaders who encourage learning over perfection unlock creativity. And what you have to look at is how does your team respond when experimentation fails? So let's unpack that a little bit. The best way to encourage experimentation is to have regular discussions about it. It might be once a quarter, it might be 3 times a year, it might be twice a year, but at least have a discussion about, hey, let's talk about experimentation. Let's talk about some of the projects that we're working on. Help me understand where everyone is in their projects. And this is what we want as a company. We want people experimenting. And then set some guide rules around it. Now, the first question is, with whatever they're experimenting, will the company go out of business if it fails? You need people to realize, understand, at least put enough thinking into their experimentation, whatever project, whatever new idea they have, put enough thinking into it to realize what the risk is at the end. What's the risk going to look like if indeed it could fail? If it's not going to cause the company to go out of business, maybe some embarrassment for a team leader or for the people who worked on the project, so what? Encourage people to have some fun, make some mistakes, try something new. And that's the boundary you set around it. And then celebrate it. Announce that people are experimenting, not when it's complete, not when it's a win or a fail. Hey, kudos to the team at the XYZ department that are working on a new project to improve our productivity or to improve a process or to improve an offering to our customer base, or maybe venturing out on a new offering. We have some people looking at a new marketplace. You don't have to give all the details, but encourage them. We'll let you know. We'll keep you posted. If it doesn't work out, that's okay too. You didn't give the details. The acorn brain loves safety. The brain has to be reprogrammed because so many people operate out of comfort, and you can reprogram the mind. And first it takes noticing, what is your first thought about experimentation, and who are the people that you notice in your team that love the idea? They don't mind being out of their comfort zone. They could lead some people that are in their comfort zone. They could lead some people and help people stretch. But you need a leader who is and has demonstrated a level of discomfort, that they're okay with it. They're comfortable with uncertainty. They're not uncomfortable with uncertainty. And so identifying those people first, and then also encouraging people to stretch on their team. And by the way, they will. Why? Because their leader's modeling it. Their leader is comfortable with uncertainty. They're comfortable with stretching. They're comfortable with being uncomfortable. So it's important that the leader stretch people and then pick people. Most leaders know who could be called the wild cowboy or the wild lady, the wild cowgirl, the experimenter, the scientist, the mad scientist. Most people know. Most leaders know who those people are in your team. And maybe they don't lead a department. Maybe you select someone to lead a project that you know by they demonstrated by their willingness to speak up. They're always standing out. They're even maybe having always offering ideas and maybe constructive criticism. Those are the people that you pick to run a project and to encourage innovation and experimentation. And again, you set the boundaries that we're having some fun. These are the boundaries. We understand that if the company's going to go out of business, we're not taking that project on, right? That the risk is great for something new, but it's not also so great that the company could suffer a devastating blow. And most people understand what that is. And then the same thing is we just want to experiment. We want to have people who would love to be part of this team and maybe enroll people that way. The key is you need to be talking to people about the place that they feel comfortable and that it's important to stretch and that it's okay. This brain is inside everyone's head. That little talker, that little voice. Fear is passed on through our DNA. It actually goes back to the days of the cave. Can you imagine? And as far as I know, when we go out to shop or go out, leave the car from the parking lot to get into work, we don't have to fear a pterodactyl will swoop down and take us away, or that a saber-toothed tiger will eat us. We don't have those kind of fears, except that people still have that running their brain. It's been passed on through DNA. So that's where the resistance to becoming uncomfortable and trying new things comes from. Now, I run programs that talk about the Acorn Brain and help people learn to respond instead of react by beginning to notice. Notice that you're always uncomfortable and you want to stay in a comfort zone. If you want to stretch, well, guess what? If you want more to happen in your life, you want more responsibility, you want to gain in learning about yourself, you have to get uncomfortable. Nothing worthwhile is gained by avoiding what's uncomfortable initially. Nothing worthwhile in life is gained by avoiding what's uncomfortable initially. And when that thought occurs, that's the place. If you want to grow in your life, you push forward. Maybe as an employee, you step up and say, I have an idea and I'd like to take this project on. So it doesn't matter what level you're at. Companies need people that are willing to experiment. Leadership can foster it by setting boundaries around no shame, no blame, but to celebrate people that stepped out, especially when it didn't work. Hey, we want to recognize team XYZ because they stepped out, tried a project, it didn't work. They're going back to the drawing board and they're going to come up with new ideas and work on it again. That's important. That's important. You have to decide that as a leader, and that if your team is not experimenting, then what are you modeling as a CEO? Or what are you modeling as a division leader or department leader? It doesn't matter. Are you modeling safety? You just need to question it. It doesn't mean that you're a failure too. The brain might suggest, oh boy, you're the one that's modeling this behavior. It starts with you. That's okay. You're human. You're human. Leaders are human. We're not going to be perfect. No leader will be perfect. And if you notice your team, if you have the complaint that your team isn't experimenting, that they're stuck in a comfort zone, you have to question your own thinking. Is it beginning with you? Are you modeling that behavior? That's what we learn when we start to notice our brain and notice our thinking. Only noticing begins the process of self-observation and reprogramming the mind. So if you're stuck in comfort, your team will be stuck in comfort and you'll be wondering why it's happening. But as long as you take accountability, whatever level you're at, that what's occurring comes from your thinking. And if you have self-limiting thinking, if you have comfort zone thinking, then that's what your team will express because somewhere, without even realizing it, your verbiage is modeling that. Maybe it's a reaction to something. And that sends a tone to everyone in the company. So start with looking at your own accountability for what's occurring, especially if you think your team isn't taking enough risks. If experimentation is not happening in the company, the leaders have to start looking at themselves. And the good news is it can change. Things change when you change. I have a quote: if you don't like your experience of the world, change how the world is experiencing you. And remember that nothing worthwhile in life is gained by avoiding what's uncomfortable initially. Go for it. Have some fun. Celebrate your teams that are experimenting, even and especially if it didn't work out. Shout loud that they took the risk, and you want people to do that. And that recognition will help. And then change your mind. Notice your own thinking. And that's how you reprogram your mind. A good book to read is Self-Observation by Red Hawk if you want to start reprogramming your mind. And leaders, especially, need to question their own thinking. All right. Any questions? You can email me, steve@stevelentini.com. Here, I'll show you how to spell my name. This is one of my books. Your brain is brilliant, but it's not always your friend. All you have to do is email steve@stevelentini.com. I'm glad to help. I'll even give you a free coaching. Thank you.